Everyone is very excited for Switch 2 and Mario Kart World, but one game I feel like a lot of people are sleeping on right now is Donkey Kong Bananza. I mean, for crying out loud, it's a 3D Donkey Kong, the first one since Donkey Kong 64, which was over 25 years ago. And we haven't gotten a new Donkey Kong game since Tropical Freeze on the Wii U, which would get a port on the Switch, but it has now been over 10 years since Tropical Freeze released on the Wii U. So clearly we are due for a new Donkey Kong game, and I am so glad that it's a new 3D one. So yeah, a lot of people aren't talking about this thing, and it's literally coming out a month after Switch 2 launches. We get Mario Kart World day one, and then just a month later, we get Donkey Kong Bananza. So I want to actually start moving a little bit more to Bananza as well and giving it the love that it deserves, because it looks pretty fascinating. Now, some people are still a little shaky on this game, and I'm just here to say we've hardly seen anything. I mean, we literally only got one trailer, and the treehouse that we've seen was of two areas. The first area being the very beginning of the game, and the second area being shown 3 separate treehouse events. So yeah, we really haven't seen anything besides those two. And I'm sure Nintendo's hiding a whole lot with only one trailer under its belt so far. I mean, we might even get a whole dedicated Nintendo Direct for this game. We just have to wait and find out. But until that happens, and until we start learning more about this game and finding out its secrets, I'm going to talk about 13 things that I think this game needs to have or show here very soon. So if you're excited about Donkey Kong Bananza, let me know by leaving a like and subscribing to stay up to date on all things Donkey Kong and Nintendo in general. But let's dive into 13 things that Donkey Kong Bananza needs to give us. So the first thing that not only me, but a lot of people online, there are YouTubers everywhere, even dedicated ones that are literally making videos talking about this. We need King K. Rool and the Kremlings back. I feel like this is something that's been long overdue. Donkey Kong Country Returns and Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze both not only had multiple versions released, like on the 3DS and even the Switch, none of them included the Kremlings in King K. Rool, which is extremely weird. The last mainline Donkey Kong game to have the Kremlings in King K. Rool, no, I'm not counting DK Barrel Blast, or Mario Super Sluggers. Yeah, it's Sluggers. Yeah, I guess you could say technically K. Rool has appeared in some spin-off games, but the last real mainline game was Donkey Kong 64. Yeah, that was like a super long time ago. Now, there were some other spin-off titles that they would throw him in a little bit later, like for instance, Donkey Kong King of Swings for the Game Boy, and even Jungle Climber for the DS, but I wouldn't even count those as mainline games. But if you really watched or listened to some of these theories for Donkey Kong Bananza, it really does look like King K. Rool is going to be making some sort of return. It looks like there is an emphasis on like skeletal fossilized remains of crocodiles, and it seems like there's lots of crocodile theming going on in this game, and I'd be very, very surprised if they have crocodile themed stuff going on in this game and it's not the Kremlings. I mean, there's lots of theories going around right now that sounds like we could be returning to Crocodile Isle from DKC2, and there's lots of references that we've seen so far of DKC2, DKC3, it's all over the past. So like, I'm really hopeful that King K. Rool and the Kremlings could be making some sort of return, which would be really cool to see. And I actually hope that there's some areas that maybe reference some of the past areas as well. Like maybe a whole world could be dedicated to Crocodile Isle or the Lost World from DKC2. Which does tie into my second thing. I really hope that there's some good story. And that's something that we normally don't get in like 3D platformers from Nintendo. Like, is there a single Mario game with a really good story that's a 3D platformer? No, not really. They're all about platforming first, story dead last. But it seems like with all these callbacks and references to past characters and maybe past games, maybe they are kind of cooking up a bigger, deeper story. I mean, there's a lot of things that we have no clue what's going on so far. Like, for instance, it even looks like Pauline's going to be joining the fray in her younger self, so I really hope there's some story here with tons of new characters like different monkeys and also new villains like the Void Co. I really hope that there is a lot of cool, interesting lore and story tied in here, and maybe references and callbacks to past games that maybe even tie directly into this game and this game's story would be really great. I want to see animal buddies make a return in some form. This is something that Donkey Kong has always been known for, whether it be the DKC franchise or even Jungle Beat had animal buddies, and I feel like it'd just be a missed opportunity if we didn't have any of the DK animal buddies in a 3D Donkey Kong game. Now, we've seen a whole world filled with ostriches that look very similar to Espresso, which was one of the ostrich animal buddies, allowing Donkey Kong to move fast as it was a very fast moving bird. So honestly, I'd be just as fine just seeing somebody like Ram Rambi make a return, or maybe even Unguard for some underwater levels. But personally, I think Rambi's pretty much already confirmed. We've already seen some dialogue from Cranky Kong as he mentions that he rode Rambi down to meet Donkey Kong, but somewhere along the way Rambi ran off. And it even has a little icon of Rambi. So I'm sure he will be in this game and probably found in one of the sub-levels that Donkey Kong can actually ride him and probably run through walls and stuff, which I can't wait for. I mean, considering the fact that you can dig underneath the ground, it just seems like it was made for Rambi, who's known for digging or kind of ramming through mud walls and dirt walls to find bonus rooms in Donkey Kong Country. So this is just a perfect opportunity to have other animal buddies as well outside of just Rambi. Something that we've seen from the first trailer is that there seems to be some type of throwback 2D stages, as this stage is pulled directly from the very first Donkey Kong Country game. Now, it's not referencing, I think, a specific level, but the whole theming and everything around it is referencing, of course, the jungle area, which is the very beginning of Donkey Kong Country 1. There's blast barrels and secret wall passages that he can pass through, which just references that area perfectly, and I hope there's a lot more than just this one. I hope this isn't just one little callback, and I hope there's a lot of other 2D sections that we can play in. For instance, maybe referencing other Donkey Kong Country games as well, which would make me so happy to see references from 2 and even 3. And I actually have a theory that maybe these levels are in fact tied to the surrounding worlds that we're in. Like maybe we're underneath these specific regions that Donkey Kong already passed through in the classic games. For instance, one of the maps that we find did have the map for the Northern Hemisphere, which was the map for DKC 3. So I'm wondering if there will be some type of 2D throwback level that calls back to DKC 2 and 3, maybe even returns in Tropical Freeze. I mean, I'm here for it. I want to see cameos from other characters as well, because we did see Cranky Kong that's making an appearance, and he looks like he's just going to be kind of a guide or just that character that you can talk to from world to world that just always is there to talk to. But I want to see the other Kongs too. Show me Diddy, show me Dixie. Shoot, you can even give me some deeper cuts. I'd take those as well, like even Kitty Kong. I'd love to see Tiny Kong and Chunky Kong, even Lanky Kong, maybe even Candy Kong can make an appearance, maybe even Wrinkly Kong in her ghost form. I mean, Nintendo just recently posted an updated look for Diddy Kong, which initially just gave him more details, some teeth, a badge on his hat, which also removed the Nintendo lettering, and also his eyes now have a space in between them. But still, it's still definitely our Diddy Kong that we know and love, but with this upgrade, it tells me that clearly he's about to be shown off in something as well, and that something is probably guaranteed to be Donkey Kong Bananza. Now, don't get me wrong, I would love to have specific levels where maybe we can play as Diddy or Dixie. Maybe there's just little challenge rooms that we can play as these characters and use their little movesets, like Diddy can fly around with his jetpack and also use his peanut guns, and Dixie can use her hair to twirl and hover, you know, in order to complete certain obstacles that Donkey Kong couldn't do. But even if they're just cameos that we can find and talk to, maybe each region has a cameo character, like Cranky Kong is in this specific region, but in the next one it's Diddy, and in the next one it's Dixie. That would be enough to make me happy, honestly. Now, the digging does look very fun and does give the game kind of this collectathon feel, very similar to DK64, but I really hope there's more levels based on just classic platforming, because I think that's what a lot of people were really wanting and expecting with a new 3D Donkey Kong, like grabbing vines and swinging to the next area or making long jumps and stuff, which it does look like we're going to have. Like I said, there does seem to be bonus rooms, which definitely looks like those from Super Mario Odyssey, where there's like 3 hidden Banandium gems that you gotta find, where 2 are easy and 1 is really difficult to find, which does give me kind of hope that there are going to be a lot of platforming challenges that aren't just about digging, which I really hope so. Like I said, I love the digging, but it looks like it could get tiring just digging and digging and digging nonstop without having any fun platforming challenges to take a break from that digging with. I hope this Odd Rock character has a lot bigger role than what we've seen so far. Now, of course, there is a leaked image showing Odd Rock is probably this Pauline character. We don't know who she is or what's going on. Why is she a kid here? Is this some type of time travel game? Is this even Pauline at all? Is it just some type of relative of Pauline? Who knows? But I really hope that there is a reason that Pauline's in this game, and it's a really good one. Like, she has a really fun skill set that helps DK. We know that she'll probably have full voice acting because Odd Rock does, and whether she's been turned into Odd Rock or there's some type of curse on her, it's really cool to see that she'll probably have full voice acting, which is awesome. But I also hope that she has some fun gameplay mechanics as well, outside of just story elements. Like, we know that Oddrock and Donkey Kong can sing and whistle in order to break curses from the Void Co. I just hope that there's more to this singing, and there's actually some fun mechanics that we can do with Pauline. And I hope it's not one of those games where we don't see Pauline's transformation until like the very end of the game. I mean, for her to appear on the official art of the game, I would like to assume that they are going to show her off in her full glory with the next trailer, and that she is something that's going to be transformed back to normal earlier on in the game, because why else would it be on like the game cover art and stuff like this that they're hiding from us, which already leaked a little early. But still, I really hope that there's something bigger and grander with Pauline, which might actually end up being the big gimmick or secret, which I want to get into next. I really hope there's some really cool secret gimmick or something that Nintendo isn't telling us, which I'm sure there is. We've only seen one trailer and a couple of really short, I don't want to say pointless, but really nothing's really happening in these treehouse events. So I hope there's something that Nintendo really is hiding from us, and I do think that is going to be Pauline. I think Pauline's going to play a lot bigger of a role in this game as Oddrock, and we just don't really see what that is right now because this is the very early part of the game. But I hope it's like a Super Mario Odyssey moment where we find out, oh shoot, yeah, there's a capture mechanic or something that's just completely crazy that they've been hiding from us that really elevate the game. And I feel like that's what they need to have in the next trailer, something that's really big and flashy. And I do still think it is going to be Pauline in some capacity, but unfortunately it already leaked, so we know about it. But I feel like it's just going to be this grand reveal that, yeah, Pauline is this little rock creature. Number 9, I hope we have some really good boss battles that are really unique and in-depth with how we take them out. And I'm pretty good at judging bosses early and gameplay early and having a good idea as to how this gameplay is going to transition when we actually play. I think these bosses are going to be really, really good. I mean, we've only seen a couple like quick clips of at least like 2 of them, and I think that they're going to do some really unique stuff. But since the game's really focusing on digging, I really hope some bosses require us to like dig inside the boss or something that's like a giant creature that we must dig through different sections in order to find the weak point. If you've ever played The Legend of Zelda Minish Cap, there's a boss very much similar to this where you actually get real small in order to enter inside and take out its weak points from within. So I do hope that there's some real difficulty to these and they're not just easy walkthroughs where we just blow through these boss battles. I hope they all have unique premises and actually incorporate some gameplay mechanics like that digging into a lot of these bosses as well. But from what I've seen so far, I'm pretty positive on them. I think they're going to turn out to be really good. I hope there's some type of index that we can look at or like trophies that we can actually line up after we collect them. For instance, you can collect fossils in this game, and we've seen some of the fossils seem to be references of past creatures and enemies or characters from past Donkey Kong games. As you can see right here, Donkey Kong collects a fossil that has a naughty beaver fossilized from the Donkey Kong Country series. So I'm wondering if there's going to be tons of other fossilized creatures, bosses, enemies from the past that we can collect, and maybe it's placed in a gallery where we can go back and read descriptions of past creatures and maybe see what they used to look like and just have art of them or something. That'd be really cool, almost like a trophy system like Smash Brothers, where there's tons of callbacks and references, and maybe there's like dialogue for each one that Cranky Kong has to talk about, or maybe giving some new information or new lore about the past bosses or enemies from DKC 1, 2, and 3 that we didn't know before. Would be an awesome addition. Thanks to some in-game footage, we know that Donkey Kong will probably have lots of costumes. As it says when he collects a fossil, trade for new fashion items at any style shop. So this is probably going to be very similar to Super Mario Odyssey, and I hope it's very similar to the point where we have tons of different outfits and costumes that we can actually put on. From different helmets, maybe even changing Donkey Kong's signature tie if we wanted to, or giving him different types of pants or overalls or stuff to wear. I mean, we've seen him in a couple different outfits so far. For instance, one did have overalls and a minor helmet, but I hope it's like Odyssey, giving us just so much freedom to actually have tons of different costumes. As somebody who loved the minecart and rocket barrel sections from the Donkey Kong Country series, I would love to see those return. Now, we have seen a scene which looks like Donkey Kong can control a minecart, and there seems to be lots of rails moving on in the background. So I'm hoping that these are actual levels that we can hop, and we have to either hop with the minecart or hop out of the minecart in order to dodge things, pretty much giving us those 2D minecart levels, but in full 3D this time around. Would be a great addition to this game, and it really does look like so. There's even official art of Donkey Kong riding in these minecarts. What's weird is like the minecart's wheels pop off and they can be 4 legs, at least with this screenshot it shows this. So I'm wondering if we'll be able to just ride it around like a little animal that we can ride around, almost like Rambi. I don't know. This is very weird and strange, but it looks like there is going to be something to do with these minecarts, and I'm very excited. I just really would love to see some traditional minecarts as well, where we're just jumping from rail to rail or jumping out of the cart and back into it. And finally, I really hope this game is just full of content. It's one of my biggest issues with 3D platformers is they're definitely my favorite genre of game, but they're just way too short. They end way too soon, and it doesn't really matter what 3D platformer you bring up, they're all really quick games. And I really hope this doesn't take that page out of Odyssey, where you could beat Odyssey in just a handful of hours, and to 100% it is not that many extra hours put into it either. So I hope that there's a lot jam-packed into this game, and with the whole digging and mining, it probably is going to lengthen the game a lot more, considering the fact that there's going to be so many things to dig for and look for in every single level. So yeah, I'm hoping there's tons of bonus content, tons of replayability, tons of reasons to go back after we even 100% and complete the game, lots of extra post-game content as well, and especially considering the fact that this game is being charged at $70. So for a $70 game, I shouldn't be able to complete this in 4 to 5 hours. Like, I would love for this to be a lot bigger of an adventure than anyone imagined. I'm talking like 20, 30, maybe even 40 hours would be awesome for a 3D adventure game like this. So those are the things that I would love the most and would love to see the most from Donkey Kong Bananza. So whether we get more information in an upcoming general Nintendo Direct in June, or maybe there's an upcoming Donkey Kong Bananza specific Direct in June or sometime this month, I really am excited to see all the things that Nintendo is cooking for this. But let me know in the comments down below if there's anything that I didn't mention that you want to see Donkey Kong Bananza do, and just comment them down below. I'm interested in what you guys are looking forward to the most. But make sure you leave a like and subscribe before you head out, and like always, I hope you all have a blessed day, and I'll see you all on the next one. See you guys.